We do have a Facebook group. I'll put that link in the chat for anybody. But yeah, essentially just a weekly mindset accountability Zoom. We have different topics that we'll come up with for the month and usually post ahead of time so people know what to expect when they're coming. Obviously, we can talk about whatever in these calls, but we want to have some sort of guide as to what's on the mind. And
Our
yeah, really just
theme.
looking to grow. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Monica. I couldn't think of the word. But yeah, just looking to grow with each other. And sometimes you don't realize the things that either you're trying to, whether it's for yourself, I think sometimes just talking things out with other people can help you figure out what you've got going on, whether it's in business, personal life, whatever the case may be. But yeah, that's essentially what the group is for.
Nice,
So glad you're
nice.
here.
Likewise. Glad to see everyone.
Sweet.
Glad to see everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Give shout out to
Tonight's,
Emily. What's going
oh
on?
yes, I love Corey.
I
Always
know,
making sure
right?
everybody feels included and welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, but tonight we're talking about navigating negative emotions. I actually thought it was a good topic in light of today being the election day, because I know that can definitely stir the pot for some people. And it's interesting because I just went and visited my family this past weekend in Virginia, and my brother, who is about to turn 18 next week, he said that his government teacher was telling him, you should never talk politics with your family or your friends or any loved ones. And I was like, what kind of message is that? I get the sentiment, but I feel like we should be able to learn
Schools are
how to,
scary.
oh man. Yeah, but we should be able to learn how to communicate with other people that have differing opinions of us. And that's just politics. That could go for anything. People do
Mhm.
business differently than other people do. People raise their kids differently than other people do. And I think as long as you're able to communicate yourself to others of why you do what you do, I think that's the biggest thing. Because what's scary for me is how the school system really does bring up sheep and they just want people to follow a certain narrative and not really think for themselves. And that's what I'd like to change because I think a lot of the times I was the type of person, I never really said anything because I didn't want to stir the pot. Like I'm not a negative person. So I'm like, oh, I'm just not going to say anything because it doesn't matter. But it
Mhm.
also, I don't want people to feel like they can't speak up just because they don't want to be different or possibly offend somebody. I think people should learn how to navigate through different things. And there's no reason for it to be negative if we're just having a conversation.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I agree.
interesting.
I agree. I used to be like hardcore into politics and hardcore into thinking certain people were wrong. And in the last few years, as I've been doing more of like the personal development and the mindfulness and like connecting more spiritually, I don't feel that way anymore at all. I just don't. I feel like it goes back to we're all one. Like we are all literally connected. All of us come from the same place and we all have the same basic core wants and needs. And if everyone thought the same, it would be the most boring life ever. And so I think it's interesting hearing why certain people believe certain things or want certain things for themselves and how they think they're going to achieve those things based on who's in office and all these. It's just interesting to me. So it's become more of like a curiosity than it is judgment. And of course, I have opinions, right? That hasn't changed, but I just don't put as much emphasis on it. And I feel
Mhm,
so much lighter and happier. I just don't care. You know what I mean? Like
mhm,
whatever happens is going to happen.
mhm.
I also recognize that I am a teeny tiny little speck in this universe. And so I just have a strong belief that everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. And if you believe in something super strong, then you should do whatever you need to do to fulfill that and also leave space for others to have that same ability.
I think that's the nail on the head right there is having space for other people because if you're just, I don't know, if like stuck in your ways or entitled, because I think that's the biggest issue is not allowing other people to share their perspectives and assuming that your way is the only way. Because you never really know what somebody's perspective is or reasoning or when
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it could be misinformation or it could, there's just so many different
Mm-hmm.
factors to it that if you're not allowing people to have that voice, it can get, I guess, misconstrued. And that's where people aren't either allowing themselves or having the ability to really communicate their thoughts and their opinions.
Agreed. Literally, if you just consider the same strong feelings that you're having about your topic, that person is having the same strong feelings and feel the same level of this is the right thing. This is what's morally correct, or this is what's the best for my family. This is what's best for the country. This is the best religion. This is the best taco place. Like all of those things, other people have those same like strong feelings and beliefs. And if you want to have the ability to believe those things and have that same or have the ability to hold on to that, then you have to have space for them to do the same.
Hmm.
It's, I don't know why you would think anything else.
So for me, I think it's very easy to let negative emotions carve the way for you. And it's tough to grab the awareness of yourself and redirect that to being the better outcome rather than just being comfortable. So I think,
Mm.
again, back to you never know who just holds that key. And that one time that you're negative or you push someone off or you don't help that person that's in need, you might have just fucked up. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to bring it back to light, but that's how I help myself navigate some of the negative emotions that could arise, right?
It's interesting because obviously negative emotions can stem from different circumstances, right? All sorts of different types of circumstances. And I wasn't really considering the way when you started talking about being uncomfortable can bring up some negative emotions, but they're good for you at the same time. You know what I mean? Like feeling
Mm-hmm.
anxious or nervous about something that's out of your comfort zone is what helps you to grow. That's one way to look at things. Versus another thought that I had was typically others' negative emotions don't tend to affect me. I've always been the type of person, especially so like my background is in the restaurant and like service industry. And so I used to love having a moody table come in and making it my mission to turn their day around. Like I was pretty good at that. So things like that I like, but when it comes to somebody that is, let's say, my husband or my mom and like somebody who's close to me and then they're negative, I'm a very empathetic person and I feel like I get their energy very quickly because I want them to be happy. I'm not happy now because they're not happy and I'm not going to be happy till they're happy. You know what I mean? So there's different ways to look at this topic, which I think is interesting too. We can go whatever way you guys want to go.
Oh, for sure. You
Yeah,
can go every direction, right? There's
yeah.
so many ways that we have negative emotions that come, like you said, from other people. And I think, obviously, if you don't want to stay in it, the first step would be to observe it, right? I feel anxious because I'm afraid that this is going to happen, or I feel anxious because I don't know what's going to happen, or I'm frustrated because this is taking too long, or like you were saying, I don't like this feeling because they're not happy. And so now I'm not happy. And asking yourself, like, how is this serving me? Is this what I want to feel right now? Because sometimes you do, right? Like sometimes I just want to be annoyed, or sometimes I want to recognize that it's not something you have to get rid of always
Mm.
right away. Like sometimes you just want to be mad. Sometimes you just want to be sad about something that happened and allowing yourself the time to do that. But if it's something that you don't want to do or you don't want to stay in, you have the power to change that. So being able to recognize, I feel like that's like the first fork in the road while
Mm.
navigating is like, is this something that I'm okay sitting in for a little bit? Or is this something that I want to move away from? And what are my best options to do that? If you're around somebody who's in a negative, bad mood, maybe I remove myself instead of trying to
Mhm.
change them. Or I'm just gonna let them sit in it and be over here doing me. And that might be the thing that moves them out of their bad mood. Just recognizing that you have options. You have choices, you have options, and which are you gonna pick?
LaQuint, I want to hear what you were going to say.
No, I just wanted to capitalize off of that in terms of just managing your emotions. I weighed because my background is hospitality as well, not front of the house but back of the house, and I just resonated because you've seen how the kitchen can be sometimes when it's busy, and and in my earlier years I've been very, I wouldn't say hot tempered, but I would be quick to go off if it's not, certain things aren't going my way. That still has carried over now, admittedly, but I've gotten a lot better at it over the years. So the way that I manage it is that I pick and choose where I want to spend my energy. Like just even little things, like just getting up early or not engaging in certain conversations like politics, for example. And like, I'll give you an example with politics. I was at Walmart one time, and I just happened to see one of my friends, and she asked me, we were just talking, and she asked me like, "Are you voting?" And I'm not gonna say who she said, but I just in the back of my head, I was like, I'm not doing this right now. But I gave her kind of short answers and indicating that okay, I want to go, and I'm not trying to engage in this conversation. Thank you for your time. And later on, she apologized to me, and I forgot about it. I was like, oh, well, thank you. I didn't think you were that doing that at all. I had to go because I was in a hurry, but I also knew that I wasn't trying to have this conversation. So I was like, no, I got to keep this short and carry on about my day. And I guess with you, Jackie, I'm a little bit different in terms of a person because I'm very much rather be by myself in my own space and not try to engage with other people because it goes back to what I was saying. I only have so much energy and I'm very comfortable in my own space. Please, if you have that energy or if I know that I'm not like I have bad energy, I try to just stay to myself and not engage because if I try to engage when I'm in a bad mood or if I engage with someone that I know has bad energy, it's going to disrupt the flow of my day. And that's something that I know about myself, and it's fine. It's something I acknowledge and something I'm working on. I'm not perfect. I still screw up royally some days. Today I think would be one of them, but it's work in progress. Yeah, just I was telling Corey about this yesterday actually. Just getting back on the ball and being kind to yourself is another thing, and just being consistent.
Mm.
It sounds like you have good boundaries though, right?
Yeah, and thank you. I try to. It's yeah, I try to have try to have good boundaries. Just try not to engage with stuff that I know is not going to serve me. Which I'm already pretty good about it. That's not. I just yeah. I'm not sure where I was going to go with that, but yeah, I try to keep it that way.
Do you
That's
try
good
to get yourself
awareness.
out of yeah, exactly. I was gonna say the awareness is there for sure. And then what do you do when you realize that you are in a bad mood? Do you just deal with it because you're in it and you're cool with being there and letting yourself like slowly come out? Or do you try to like do you have like things that you do like action items?
I try to go work out and run and hit a punching bag. That's what I try to do and listen to and blast my music. That's what I try to do. When I know I'm mad, I just go put my playlist on because I consider that like it's corny, but I consider that my medicine. I really do.
Yeah, I don't think it's corny at all.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think that's corny.
Music is my therapy for everything. I will literally, if I feel this, I think this is, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for men, but I feel like this is like a female trait. You have those days where you're just like, I just need to cry. You're like, I know exactly what's going to make that happen. I got you.
Oh
Put
yeah.
on a song, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
I can agree with that. One of the things for me is like a sacred age type of breathwork session, just losing myself for 30, 45 minutes. I've got a specific space where I'll do that, but that really helps me. And sometimes guided as well by mentorship. Yeah, it's euphoric at the same time, a little sacred rage along with that. And yeah, man, it's healthy too, all across the board. Some too many positives right there to be negative. So I know that helps for me. But yeah, crying too, man. I'll be right. Sometimes tears come up in those sacred rage moments of breathwork practice. And those are some of the heavier ones that really help release like a ton. But it's like the actual work, and then there's the integration after that as well to continue to release, right? And yeah, man.
I think you tapped right into it with the release. That's one of the, we're talking about navigating negative emotions is like
Mhm.
releasing it. So that could be anything, journaling it, calling your friend and being like, can you believe it? Da, 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 or I feel so upset about something, like just getting it out. We were talking about that. I think it was our last call or the call before about the one where,
Talking more.
right. And journaling, getting it out, releasing it and crying is like physiologically our body's way of releasing emotions, pent up emotions. I know it's like a hot topic or a touchy subject for men, but I think we're all in a safe space. Like you have to let it out. And sometimes you can't stop it. As a child, I was not allowed to express emotions. We weren't allowed to be mad. We weren't allowed to be sad. We weren't allowed to cry. We weren't allowed to anything. And so as I grew up and realized like I was a safe adult, I cry about everything. I cry about everything. It could be, we were watching something the other day and this dog commercial came on and I'm like, this hot mess. And it was like a happy dog commercial, not even like one of those sad ones. But recognizing that like your body just needs to release these things and it's okay. And if you want to do it in a private space, you should, but just get it out. Go for a drive and scream at the top of your lungs because we're not allowed to do that in a lot of places, but you can do that on the highway. Yeah, I think release has to be one of the top things that I would say for navigating negative emotions is like the longer you hold it in, the shittier it feels.
Hmm.
Yeah, the rage pillow. That's it's a good product for any product type businesses out there. You know, those
Developers.
will sell.
Even what you posted earlier today, Monica, because I feel like, and I think these conversations we've been having these past Tuesdays have actually been helping me. I'm starting to be more aware when certain situations pop up. I'm like, okay, whereas before I'd be quick to react, now I'm more recognizing things that are coming up. And the next step for me is to figure out, okay, what's the pattern disrupt here that I have to make so that I don't react like I normally do. And you posted something today about if people just knew if they took two quick inhales and then a release. I think that's what it was, right? And I
Yeah,
was
it's like
like, yeah.
nice and slow.
Yes. And things like that, where I'm like, okay, because even, and it's funny, I feel like everything has its, I forget what the word is, but like things take time to become good. So I'm trying to get better at that. But I've noticed, okay, now instead of immediately reacting, I'll take a breath, but then I also catch myself. I feel like I'm sighing heavier on purpose. Like, let's say it's something between me and Ray, and I'm like trying to use my breathing, but I'm like intentionally, he knows I'm breathing to calm down.
I love
Uh,
it.
yeah, we're working on it.
I'm sure.
Change
That's
takes
all.
steps.
Of course.
That's almost like a mini version of Breath of Fire with
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that type of that nasal inhale, double inhale on the nasal, and then
Yep.
the exhale out, and then repeat, and you can just speed it up and speed it up, and then throw a breath retention in there. Before you know it, yeah, some of those exhales could be a little louder.
relationships are funny, guys.
Oh, it's a trip.
I like something that I
This
picked up with LeQuint when you said there was, and I forget who exactly it was to you. I think it might have been maybe your sister, I think you said. And then she like apologized later.
a
I think
friend
that's,
at Walmart.
A friend, yeah, a friend at Walmart. Yeah, she felt that she was being pushy and aggressive with some of the questions that she was asking, and she apologized about it later. And I guess she felt that I was like in a hurry, so she went ahead and apologized for that. I didn't, and like I was done thinking about it, but she went ahead and did that herself.
see, I think that's huge, bro. I think
Yeah.
that's,
Agreed.
and picking up on the relationship aspect, like you were saying, Jackie, I think that's huge between two people in a relationship is that you go through this negative emotion together, right? And it could still be there days later, or it could be gone. It could be satisfied. You could be happy again, but just coming back to still make it aware that and apologetic or just however, like revisiting and coming back to let someone know that you were aware of maybe that hurt that they were going through, even though it
Hmm.
might still be, or maybe that it's already done and you're past it and you guys are happy again. I think that freaking speaks so many volumes on so many levels when two in a relationship can do stuff like that, you
It's
know?
insane because even tying back to what Monica was saying before, I feel like we're all in that generation where it wasn't okay for kids to cry. Like you could like, oh, you want to cry for no reason? I'll give you a reason to cry. That's what my mom always told me.
A
And
Hell
hundred
yeah.
percent.
instead of teaching us how to communicate those feelings as a child, now we're adults in relationships having to heal our inner childs with our partners, and that's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Oh,
Sharad, you
agreed.
can just jump in. What are you doing?
I, I just figured it's such a interesting topic because it's a very dear topic to me. That's why I like the whole negative emotion thing. So I don't know if I told you guys, but I went through a very difficult time in 2023. I signed a book deal for it. I'm going to be writing a book on men's mental health. So a lot of it being in the Eastern culture, it's so much more like detrimental when you show emotion, and you got to be a man. I mean, again, same thing. It goes in different cultures, but it was just extra like out there, right? So it's like when you're in a group of people, you're like called out for feeling some sort of emotion. So had to navigate that, but I ended up holding a lot of stuff in. And as a man, that's just what we taught to do, right? Push it away, get over it. I got to the point where I went through some really dark times in 2023, early 2023. And it's definitely a topic of conversation I'd like to share with you guys, but it is something that like I feel. So I'm writing a book about it. And it's actually interesting because my publisher wants to get me on a TEDx talk and talk about it, and then where I've been, where I'm at. So a lot of it affected my wife and our relationship. Like we were on the verge of divorce. We're actually more in love now than ever, seeing a therapist, practicing these things. Mindfulness is a big area that I've been practicing because when a negative emotion comes up, I've come to magnetize my emotions, meaning if I feel negativity, I naturally gravitate away. If it's even in my household, I stop my wife, my kids. I'm like, the moment a negative emotion comes up, I'm out. Like I'm out of the room. I'm gonna turn around because I can't. I can soak it up to a point, but the thing is, I want to disintegrate it before it's even in my face. So I haven't been upset or mad or any of that in the last six months. Like nothing will get to me. I get to the point I'm like, what's gonna happen? If you burn a house down, you just rebuild it. Like we just lost 10 hours of content, right? We're recording content for what we're doing. And I was like, the old me, it would have been like, oh my God, I fucking lost 10 hours. I'm like, maybe it just wasn't meant to be posted. Maybe it was content that just didn't need to go. Now we just generate
You
10
make
times.
better content.
Exactly. And like it's that ability, like that choice exists with every decision, right?
Everything.
Everything. So I am the one choosing. I would ask when I was substituting my kid, the middle school with my kids at, I would ask them, I said, raise your hands if someone in your family gets you upset. And they all raise their hand. I said, okay, so tell me why. Because my brother does this. I'm like, technically, you're just choosing to get upset. They're just doing what they're doing. And when I look at that on every single interaction or relationship that I have, I'm like, it's my world. Like I get to choose how I feel, and I want to feel happy all the time without having drugs. Like I just want,
right.
That's the bliss, right? So one thing I learned from the spiritual side is, if you guys know what equanimity is, it's being able to be okay no matter what has happened, and being able to end each relationship in an equanimity allowed me to eliminate any type of negative, that because most negatives that we have, everything's relationship based, right? Everything in us is a relationship. The first two relationships you have, your parents. We have a relationship with our food. We have a relationship with our bed. We have a relationship with our tooth. Everything is a relationship. As long as that relationship is good, negatives out the way. And what up, LaQuint? How you been?
What's going on? What's going on? I can't complain.
In a
How you
minute.
be? Yeah, it's I wanted to, Lord, man, let's definitely catch up. I want to see what you've been up to. Sorry to hear with 2023, but it's funny you say that. I've gone through something that's a little bit similar. So when it's time to talk about it, I'll definitely share it.
I'm open. I'll share mine if you guys got the time. I can be quick with it, but I talk about it more because it makes me more comfortable with it. As a man, the things like Monica was saying is, crying is how a fever is how your body heals from a virus. Crying is how your body heals from emotional distress, right? Like it took a long time to understand that. And then I looked at, why are women so much stronger than us? Why are they so much like better at decision making in most cases? And right now, all the guys on here, your egos are jumping through your throats because that's exactly what stopped. My first thing, and I'll tell you why. One is my friend just had a baby, and I said, there's no way I would ever be able to handle that. Guarantee any man here, the equivalent of having a baby is the same as, what is it, a walnut going through your penis? Yeah, not down for that type of pain. But not just that, running a household, cooking. Like I look at what my wife does, what my mom did. I'm like, yo, I couldn't do that as a man. And it's any man. There's really no man that is on this call that can say they can do what a woman does. And I'm just saying that because one is they're very in tune with their emotions. They're very rarely will you see mental health issues unless it's like postpartum depression. Look at
chemical imbalance.
Look at like mass suicide, or look at like suicides and mass shootings, all men. So it's a lot of it is our ego, right? I had the biggest fucking ego ever. And I was like, nah, this shit's fucking, no man, like no woman's gonna make, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna do that shit. Well, look what happened. I ended up falling off the wagon. I was an undercover drinker, like low dose, high function alcoholic. I ended up, the tolerance just kept going up. And one day I drank on an empty stomach. My wife had the neighbors come over. I was in bed. They couldn't wake me up for 2 minutes because I was pissed drunk, all because of shit that was happening. I was emotionally caged in my W-2. I had all these different situations that I created for myself, but I blamed other people for, and I ended up in a behavioral institute for 5 days. I got checked in. I ended up going through every emotion possible. And I kept thinking I wasn't supposed to be there because it was like a prison for crazy people. If anybody's ever seen one or actually been in one, I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. But then I realized I was supposed to be there, because that's the rock bottom you guys will always hear me ever talk about, is that I've never been in that type of situation. My son's first basketball game ever was the next day. And I was just like, I was on the phone with my wife. I was like, I am going to divorce the fuck out of you if you don't get me the fuck out of here. Oh, it was everything. Like, I'm telling you, it was one of the worst.
And that's why you're staying.
And so I was sad. I was upset. Like, I was like, that movie Inside Out was me inside there. Like, everyone was just triggering. But it was like, as a man, I was holding all that shit in from when I was a kid. I looked all the way back. Therapy took me all the way back to my childhood, and how I was able to see that. Like, I was standing up for myself against family and all these negative things that they would say, but I didn't conform to it. And I kept soaking it up. And eventually it came down to affecting me with my boss, right? Like, I held shit in. He would treat me whatever way he wanted to treat me, and I just fucking took it. And just, again, there was so much more deeper parts to it if we ever get a chance. But I am a better person. Like, all the stuff that I do on a daily basis, like, Jackie, you asked me, like, how do I do this? It's a drive, because I know I don't need negativity in my life, because I've got a positive direction and movement that we're creating. There's nothing gonna get in my way. Like, anybody wants to shoot me down, I'd be like, yo, I'll give you an idea that's already in works. You're gonna shoot it down, and I'm gonna show you the results. Like, it's no way that you're gonna get in my way. Like, everything I share with you guys, it's already happening, right? Like, I don't share what isn't happening yet. It's like, when anybody wants to tear me down, I like it. I surround myself with devil's advocates, because I want them to poke it and poke it until it's impervious. Then there's no negativity. It's here. Take a look at it. Tell me where the holes are. But it's that awareness, that mindfulness, that I won't even let it come up anymore. Before, I would just push it and push it. Nothing can get me upset. So it took me a while to get there, because I was. If you talk to my kids, if you ever have a conversation with them, they'll tell you my anger was through the roof. I would scream at the top of my lungs, bro. I punched my hands. I punched through walls in front of them. It was bad. I would be like, I wouldn't hit anybody. Like, I haven't raised my hand on my children or my wife, but I would take my anger elsewhere. And if I've been drinking, I can't feel pain. So next thing, my knuckles are looking like boxing gloves, because they're all swollen in between the knuckles. And then I look back the next day, I'm like, shit, all that negative stuff just came out through aggression. I can't get aggressive anymore. Even if that's just how I let things out, it may come out the wrong place. So meditation's taken over, breathing. Oh my God. I tell you about some of these visualized breathing methodologies that help you understand like channels. It's crazy. Like, it just taps you into a whole new frequency. But it's beautiful, because I'm addicted to that shit now. I'm addicted to brain waves. I'm addicted to law of attraction. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna make something happen. And next day or 2 days, if it's not me, it's the person I had a conversation with, and boom, it happens. So it's all positive. You can't get negative from that, right? Something doesn't happen, shit, it wasn't meant to happen. So I don't know. That's just how I got to where I'm at and where I'm gonna be. And if I ever disappear, it's because this group just started getting negative, which I don't see it, but why I keep coming back, right? I can jump on when I can, but it's because I feel the vibe. I can feel the energy. But yeah, thought I'd share that.
Thank you for sharing. Oh, wait, I do want to ask. So, because that's a big change to make, right? To go from being such an angry person to feeling like nothing negative can come in your way. What is it that is either keeping that anger away, or is it the words? Is it meditation? Is it breathing? What would you say is the thing for you?
One word: understanding. We were born into a world, our kids were born into the world of something that's just chaos. If you look at, I'm Hindu, right? So I look at old scriptures, I look at things, I'm like, there was a time in life when it was just blissful. Like, people just lived, right? Like, I love bartering, right? Very in a lot of business, you guys will see I hate dealing with money. I hate dealing with paying for shit. So I'll barter a lot. But that's how life began until someone put value on paper. So the same thing with a thought or a situation, it's the value that we put on it. So if I was conditioned or if I learned through the society that I need to get upset if someone disrespects me. Okay. So that's why men feel disrespected. They have to fight. Their egos jump through the roof. The real situation is someone's going to act that way. I don't have to act that way. I'm just going to keep going on with life. Understanding that I have that power is the only thing that have because it's going to come. You have 7 billion people in this world, right? You're going to come across someone who's just not having a great day. Why soak that up? Who is it that said
Mm-hmm.
there's a saying? You guys may have heard this, but it's if you find a $10 bill and you walk past it, but then you see a $10,000 and and that $100 bill is just ripped up and dirty, would you throw away the whole $10,000? No, maybe throw away that $100 bill. It just doesn't make sense. Same thing with our time, right? One 10-second situation, one minute situation. Am I going to let it ruin the next hour of my life? That's what we do. We let
Mm-hmm.
ourselves ruin the next hour, the next half hour. So that's what my wife and I have been practicing is just, hey, one is we have a safe word now, right? We went to Jamaica and that's when everything switched and we just fell in love with each other more than we have been. So we use that as a safe word. But then we're like, is this really something we have to argue about? Like we were just happy and now we're
Hmm.
talking about why the spices aren't in the right place because
Mm-hmm.
you need things. So come on, that's just silly. So it's understanding that I have that choice. And then what is it Einstein says when you're trying the same thing over and over again trying to get different results, it's you're insane or something. Like that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same thing with if we're getting angry at the same thing over and over again and I know I can stop doing it, I'm insane, I'm crazy,
Yeah.
right? So the biggest thing was with my kids, they spill milk, I would scream at them. I'm like, you spilled milk, what are you doing? Like that was old me. Now I'm like, probably over spilt milk. Well, whatever. that's
And I
that's
feel like it's like you were saying that understanding of putting value on certain things, like putting the value on the spilled milk or things that are out of your control, like Aaron is saying. Like there are so everything but you is out of your control.
Yep.
The way that the world is moving around you is out of your control. The way that person just spoke to you is out of your control. And having the ego or the audacity to think that you can change that or control that or that somehow this person is supposed to value you is bananas.
Yeah.
And once you recognize that you are completely and utterly insignificant to everyone but yourself,
Yep.
who cares? Does your opinion matter to me? Absolutely not.
No.
Zero. There are certain people whose opinion matters to me, but only to some degree, right? Because ultimately you're the only person living in your world. You're the only person creating, let's make that clear, your world. So if you're
Hey.
pissed off, you pissed yourself off.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we have this
Period.
world, we leave it alone, right? And everything in between is our choice. We find our own partners. We're born into our families. At the end of the day, it's me. But at the end, so no, this is great. I like this conversation. You don't get to have this type of conversation with many people because,
It's true.
like, my spiritual path got me to this, right? I started
Same.
realizing that, like, when you start watching the multiverse and all these different things about quantum, like, you really start looking at, hey, what is reality and what are these futures? So then, and I started looking at it as like, what if infinite realities exist, but my decision, how I do, what choices I make, bring that specific reality on, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it was all constant negativity, and I was in just a negative place, and I was like, I just put myself in this corner. And today I'm like, I'm only going to be in the positive, and I can literally just sit there and put a smile on my face like all day, and I'll just
Mm-hmm.
be okay.
I
So
just got this book based off of a Wayne Dyer recommendation. I love Mr. Dyer. It's called The Impersonal Life. And it's literally this whole conversation about remove your personality, remove your ego from your assumptions about how life is supposed to move.
yeah,
You'll just be so much happier.
you know
Like
when age
love my life and it's crazy. It's not
that
perfect. I have wild, horrible shit happening to me right this moment,
yeah,
but I still love my life.
right. You remember the ages when you were like 7, 8, 9, and like life was just free, And when you start and then really look at what society was doing, like that was pure joy. When you look at 7-year-olds and how they love their life, they eat their food, they watch their show, they wake up, they're just enjoying life. But what happens? They get yelled at because they make a mistake. Boom, drop their joy for life. And then get to the point where they feel like you hate them because you're not doing what they want. That's what I would get from my kids. And now all they want to do is be in the same room. They don't care about anything else. But then what they see on TV is, no, I need to buy this and I want to go here and but it's not even what they want. It's just because everybody else.
Right.
And it gets them angry. And I have this conversation with my son like almost daily. It's like, why are you getting upset over something because you didn't get it? I'm like, yo, I want $1 million tomorrow. Maybe I'll get it, but if I don't get it, I'm not going to be upset. And he wants this like PC and he wants all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you got to put the work in for it. And he just gets upset. I'm like, why? Just put the work in. He's just being lazy. But yeah, it's been great. I like this type of thought process, and I'm just glad everybody here is on some level of it. It's not a big thing. It's not a big community of people that are in tune with their frequencies and their emotions, especially men. So commend each of you guys on here for what you guys are doing. But yeah, I'm gonna go make dinner for the kids right now. So I'm gonna head out, and y'all be good, and I'm sure we'll touch base soon.
Always good seeing you, Shirag. Thank you for sharing. That was awesome.
Before I go, anybody free on November 14th? And that's in Florida. We're making a trip to the Temple of the Universe, Michael Singer's temple. So if you guys want to come in,
dope.
Yeah,
please remind me of that.
Yeah, I have a group of 6 or 8. My sister's flying in from out of town.
Cool.
She's the reason I wanted to be an author. She wrote a book on kids' grief, and she's the one that got like put that out. But she's coming out. We're gonna go out there. I got a few sub 2 people that are gonna be joining. So if you guys are down, November 14th. Shoot me a text if you're in, and I'll let you guys know like what everything's going on.
Yeah. Please remind me if you're on next week's call.
Yes, I most definitely will. I'll send a text here shortly to y'all, whoever's on.
Feel free to post that in the group too, Shirag.
I got you. I'll do it as soon as I get off.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Later, y'all.
Later, man.
See you, brother.
That's
Michael
awesome.
A. Singer, he's the Tethered Soul, right?
Yes.
Did he write the Untethered Soul? I think that's the only book so far, maybe that I've read twice actually by him. Right. It was actually required the first time I read it. For something
really?
Yeah, on a men's retreat. But yeah, and I read it again because I wanted a little deeper understanding. But yeah, no, that sounds cool, man. What did he say it's called? The Temple
of the Universe or something? He mentioned it in one of our other calls, and as soon as I heard it, I was like, I'm in. I want to go.
Yeah. I never heard of that. What even is that? Temple of the Universe?
I have no idea. I think it's supposed to be, I'm gonna Google it after, but I think it's a like massive monument, and it's supposed to be like a spiritual space. But I want to check it out.
Yeah. Okay. Somatic breath work group.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Somatic. Come lead one.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
You guys gotta stop playing. We can do an in-person thing in December.
A meditation center. Thank you, Meg. Exactly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I want to go. I'm on board.
But yeah, did anyone else have anything they wanted to add into that topic before we switch to the meditation? It was a good conversation. I appreciate you guys. Yeah.
I agree.
I think I've said this before, but I've always been a very big believer of everything happens for a reason, down to I always feel like the people that are on these calls each Tuesday, it's very not particular, but it works for the topic. It's the exact people that we need to have a great conversation of what we're trying to talk about for the evening. So yeah, I appreciate you guys.
I think something for this topic, there's so much information out there, books, podcasts, YouTube videos, you name it. It's a plethora of information and knowledge that can be shared. I don't know what a lot of people do with that. For me, listening to these self-help books, and they can be specific to what exactly you need or what you're looking for. But Clint, I don't know what your process is and how you're trying to get through some of the things that you're dealing with. But I don't know if you listen to audiobooks or read books like that too, but that'd be a good place to start in your journey and your healing.
Thank you.
Hey, post those
Uh,
resources in the group, Aaron.
Yeah, I'll do mine too.
I can do, yeah, I'll do it on Facebook.
I love it.
Amazing. Yeah, I love this group. I was, like I said, I was listening to Wayne Dyer the other day, and he was talking about some study where energy vibrations from like the base, like the crappiest energy vibration to fully enlightened Mahatma Gandhi type style, and the majority of society, or what they call the collective, is down in like the 200s, which is
Mm,
just guttural shit. Everybody hates everybody, me versus you type mentality, versus the we're all love, we're all one, like we all, the higher we vibrate, the better life is. And it was saying that if you, even if you elevate your vibration or your aura to like a 300, you can slowly elevate the people around you. And so I heard that and I instantly thought of our little group over here. Like every single person that's on here, we're just all elevating just a little bit. And everyone that shares and talks to each other and interacts is, we're just all vibrating a little higher. And I love it. It makes my little heart happy. So just want to throw
100%.
that out there.
That's so true, man. That's so true. You get a group together and raising one person's vibration is going to affect everybody in that room. You know what I mean? And raise their vibration as well, for sure. It's like when I was talking about like a somatic type breath work is different than just like you doing breath work by yourself. It's a totally different thing. You could do the same breath work
Mm-hmm.
practice by yourself, but then you have 10 people on the same rhythm and like doing the same, like, it's powerful, man, and it's so real.
Mm-hmm.
It's so real. That's so real for
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely. And even like when we do our group meditations, just all of us being still and present at the same time makes such a difference to the overall. Yeah. If you guys are ready, we can hop into it.
I just had a music suggestion. It's called Skyrim Atmospheres by
Okay.
Jeremy Saul.
Hey,
Would you
y'all
like
put
to
on
lead, man?
whatever vibes. We usually do some sort of like chill vibe music.
Cool,
Which
man.
one of
Run
y'all
it,
is
bro.
doing it?
I love it.
Yes, sir.
okay, can you guys hear this?
That's
Mm-hmm.
the one.
Is it too loud?
I don't know. Can you still hear me?
I
Can
can.
you? Yeah, cool. Let's roll. Okay, so we close our eyes and you can choose to turn your camera off or leave your camera on. It's up to you. Just get yourself in a comfy seated position. And we are going to start with some deep inhales through your nose. You want to feel the breath going through your chest and into your belly. And as you exhale through your nose, you want to feel that same breath coming back out, contracting your abdomen, pushing all the air out. Do that 3 more times. Nice deep inhale. And slow exhale through your nose. One more. As you continue to breathe, consider some negative emotions that may have come up for you recently. Hopefully, you're not experiencing any right now, but we all have life happening, and with life comes ups and downs. Those negative emotions can come up, negative thoughts. And sometimes, if we hold on to those thoughts, they can become emotions. Observe where you feel that emotion. Some people, when they feel anxiety, feel like their breath is short, fast, or their stomach gets tight. Oftentimes, stress can feel like tight shoulders, a neck ache, stomach ache, tension headaches. Oftentimes, when emotions come up, our body will align itself with that emotion. And you can start to feel it in different areas. When you're considering this emotion, think back what caused that emotion. What thoughts were you having? Was there an interaction that caused it? Is this something that happens often? Or a trigger? Something repetitive that continues to bring up this emotion? No judgment. We're not here to shame ourselves for feeling this emotion or feel guilty for allowing it to linger. We just want to observe, examine, understand. And then I want to invite you to bring compassion in. With understanding comes compassion for ourselves, for being human and having feelings, for having a mind that sometimes runs away with thoughts that do not serve us. And compassion for others who, just by being themselves, living life, moving around us, can trigger negative emotions. Give yourself the grace for however you've handled these emotions in the past, for wishing you had handled it better, or for wishing you didn't have to feel them at all. Have compassion for wanting a better reaction next time, for wanting to do better next time. Consider what that would look like. Imagine yourself having one of those thoughts or scenario that would bring up the negative emotion you've been considering. And imagine yourself reacting the way your higher self would react. Take a deep breath. You are your higher self today, right now. You have the ability to choose that reaction right now. Believe in yourself. And if next time that negative emotion comes up for you, you go back to your old habit, your old reaction. Don't beat yourself up. Notice. Just by noticing, you've made the first step. Just by realizing that this is not how you want to be, you're moving in the right direction. Maybe next time you'll have a moment to breathe and make a different choice. I invite you to take a moment after this meditation to write down the thoughts, the choices, and the new behavior. When this happens, I will no longer react in this way. Instead, I will, and fill in the blank for what feels right for you. Take in a few more deep breaths, sending love and compassion to yourself as you step into new choices. As you elevate, as you bring a sense of calm, peace, joy into your life. I want to say thank you for joining us tonight on this call. We appreciate each and every one of you for your presence and your energy. The light in me recognizes the light in you. Namaste. Feel free to wiggle your fingers and toes, crack your neck, slowly come back to the room. Open your eyes.
Thanks for the waterworks again, Monica.
You're
Good
welcome.
job.
I love making men cry. I'm
I needed
kidding.
it, honestly.
I say that in
really
a
did.
loving way. I'm
Felt
glad.
like I was on
I needed
another
it.
planet
Needed
for a
that.
second.
Yeah,
I
that was
love
really
that.
good. That was really good with the music on yours and
Yeah, you
the
sounded so clear.
you, Monica.
Perfect.
Yeah,
That's the new plan,
nice,
guys.
nice suggestion, Lynn, as well on
Ah,
the musical, man. That was awesome.
Thank you. No, thank you, thank you. It's funny, like every time she ended a sentence, this like the pitch was just perfect for where
I
she was
know.
going.
I
It
know,
was.
right? I was okay, so I'm not tripping. I was feeling the
No,
same thing.
no,
Like
it was
I
great.
ended as soon as the track stopped, and I was like,
Yes.
"What's happening right now?" I'm like, I feel like I'm floating.
Yeah.
Worked.
Love it, love
Thank you,
it.
Monica.
You're
Thank
Yes.
you, everybody.
welcome.
Thank you.
LaQuin's smiling, so I feel like I've accomplished something over here.
Thank you,
Stick to
thank
it,
you.
man. Be heard, be
Appreciate
seen, bro.
Yeah, what's our
you. No,
call for
that
next week?
Oh, I have celebrating small wins.
Let's go.
Yeah.
love it. Same time.
Yep.
Same time, same place, same link.
Small wins, big gains.
Heck
Beauteous,
yeah.
beauteous.
Thank you,
Awesome.
everybody.
Yes. Finish
Thank
out
you.
the week strong, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Boom.
Do.
Sounds good. Love all
Awesome.
your
Have a
lovely
good
Good
night.
night.
faces. Have a great night. It was great seeing every single one of y'all, man. Appreciate
Every
it.
Yes.
single one.
Y'all too.
Every
Have a
single
great
one.
one.
Cool.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.